Hey everybody, welcome to the next lesson in rational expressions, simplifying these rational expressions. Last lesson was about non-permissible values, which we will use quite frequently here, almost on every single question. So hopefully if you've still got a few questions from that, this helps clarify it. Okay, today says what we're going to do is we're going to simplify these rational expressions. So we'll never write an expression with a negative exponent, just like we never did in grade 10. So let's try a couple of these. First one says, simplify and state all restrictions. So that's our non-permissible values. We always do this, even if it doesn't say to or not, you should always do it. So what I'm going to do is when I'm looking at these, I'm going to simplify. I'm going to go with my coefficient and my coefficient first. Well, I see that 2 divides into both of those, so I'm dividing 2 from top and bottom, which means I'm really dividing by 1, which means I'm not changing the value, I'm changing how it looks. Now I'll take care of my variables. Well, x5 divided by x2 is x cubed. Remember, we subtract, because really there's 5 x's on the top and 2 x's on the bottom. So when I divide, I'll have 3 left in the top. Comma, I need my non-permissible value. So I say to myself, what makes my denominator equal to 0? So if I don't remember from the other day, I make a little mini expression and I divide both sides by 4 and then solve for x, or I should say isolate for x. So x can't equal 0. Okay, next one, do the same thing. So coefficient with coefficient, so it looks like 6 goes into both of those. So that would be -4 over 3. And then x squared over x cubed, well, there's 3 x's in the denominator and 2 in the top. So that means I'm going to have 1 left in the bottom, comma, my non-permissible value. Again, just make a little mini equation and isolate for x. There it is. Like it. Now, do you notice where we're looking for the non-permissible values? I'm looking at the original question. I'm not looking at the final answer, because if I had looked at the final answer right here by the 2, I put a lovely heart there, you would say there's no variable and there are no non-permissible values. So it's incredibly important we're finding non-permissible values before we simplify. Try a few more. So this one here, what I'm going to do is now I see a binomial. So I'm going to factor this first. So I'm going to factor out a 5x. That'll leave me with 3x squared minus 1. And now that I've factored, now I'm going to divide. So the 5 over 15, I know is 1/3. X and x cubed is x squared. And I'm not going to do anything here with the 3x minus the 1. That is my answer. Now I'm going to do something wrong here. A lot of people really want to do this. They go, oh yeah, look at that right there. Bam, divide. No, I can't do that because the 3x squared doesn't divide into the 1. If it doesn't divide into everything, I can't divide. So the only time I'm going to try to divide is if I can factor first. Comma, x can't equal 0 from right there. Okay, next one. I'm going to factor out a 3x from the numerator. So again, first step factor. Now I'm going to simplify. Well, 3 over 6 is a half. X over x cubed is x squared. 1 minus 3x. And again, this will also be x can't equal 0 from right there. So I think you're starting to see just how important factoring really is going to be in this unit. So if you're struggling with factoring, that's okay. Come ask for help. Okay, 5 and 6, I got a binomial over a binomial. So really, this is a double factoring question. So from the numerator, I'm going to factor out a 2x. From the denominator, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to factor out a negative x. Now, why did I know to factor out a negative x? Well, I'm a liar, and I'm actually just going to factor out a positive x. Positive x. So what have I got left now? X squared, actually. 3x minus 4. And I get the feeling I'm doing this right because look at, I see 3x minus 4 and 3x minus 4. Look at that. I can divide those things. And x over x squared. Well, I can divide those. So what are we left after all of this division? 2 over x. Now, our non-permissible values. I'm not actually going to go back to here because it's going to be really difficult to figure out my non-permissible values from there. Where I'm actually going to go and take a peek is at my factored form right here. Because what I can see is from here, x can't equal 0. And what I can see from here is x can't equal 4/3. Fix that 0 up there, it looks ugly. So when I'm looking to find my non-permissible values, it's really handy to look at the factored form for NPVs. And I want you to start building some intuition that when things start dividing out like that, you start seeing binomials dividing all over the place, you've got to know you're doing that right. Okay, last one, friends. Let's go for pretty brown. So numerator, nothing I can do with, but denominator, I recognize is a difference of squares. Okay, I get the feeling I'm doing this correctly because I see two things divide out. Now, a very common mistake I see here on tests is then people telling me that the answer is 2x plus 1. We're close. Where is that 2x plus 1? The 2x plus 1 is in the denominator. So I need to write it like that. Okay, don't forget my non-permissible values. So my non-permissible values from here and from here will be x can't equal positive negative a half. Again, if you're still struggling with that, what you do is you make that little mini equation like last lesson and isolate. Okay? Hopefully you're getting the hang of that by now. So the moral of today's story is factor, factor, factor. You must factor if you can. Always state the non-permissible values before simplifying. So before I start dividing stuff out, factors out, divide both factors, only factors in numerator and denominator. And homework counts for 100% and makes me SMRT smart. Okay, my friends, a short lesson. So just practicing a little bit of factoring, a little bit of non-permissible values and putting it all together. Good luck. And if you have questions, come see me or send me an email, right? Okay, I'll see you soon, guys. Adios.